everybody, welcome back to the BJJ101 Storeroom podcast. Today we've got a wonderful guest, Tony Torrisi. So we'll just start off with like the basic question that we ask everyone when they come in here. When and why did you start doing BJJ?
Yeah, well, the number one reason why I started would have been MMA.
Okay.
So getting into MMA. So that was the number one reason. I remember when I very, very first was searching for clubs, I knew wrestling was one of the biggest, the most important martial art for MMA. So I started searching like wrestling places. Yeah. And there's this one wrestling place I liked and whatever. I thought, all right, I'll go turn up and have a look. So I drove there, and then when I turned up, they were wearing like it's like this dark little place, and I turned up and they're wearing like masks and stuff like this. So
like WWE stuff.
WWE.
Okay, WWE.
Yeah. So yeah, and then I was like, oh man, I'm not gonna go here. So yeah, anyway, then I saw then I went to a few other BJJ places, and I saw Gaha, and then I came, and I remember you guys were doing no-gi, and it was like Eduardo, like Julian, like Simon and Ty. And you guys were doing like takedowns, and it was right. And I had a really good atmosphere. Yeah. I just felt like good camaraderie, and straight away I thought, yeah, this is the place I'm gonna start. So,
how long ago, Tony? Like roughly?
That would have been the start of the end of 2009, the start of 2010. So it's been just over 10 years, about 11 years.
I think that's a funny kind of like comparison, because I think I have the same kind of reason for starting. We watching the Ultimate Fighter or something.
Yeah, definitely.
So for me, it was exactly the same. I watched some Ultimate Fighter stuff, and I was like, oh man, this is great. This is cool. I want to watch this. I want to watch this. I want to do this stuff. I want to go there. Yeah. I never like went to a WWE wrestling gym or anything. I missed out. But same kind of idea. That's super interesting. Yeah. When like obviously like you also come from like a different sporting background as well, and I think I had like a kind of similar situation. Is there anything that you think like helped? Because if people aren't aware, like you're a fairly high level competitor as a BJJ athlete, like you medaled in a heap of things. There was like a world pro as a blue belt medalist. You competed in Brazil and won like a South American as a purple belt and stuff like that. So these are high level kind of accolades as a competitor. Is there anything that like really helped you improve as like a jiu-jitsu practitioner that you had from any other background? Maybe it was another sporting background or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's more like it comes down to the actual person themselves. Like since I was a young kid, I always done things at 100%.
Yeah.
Never 90, never 80. I was always at the 100% level. So that started from when I was really young as like a swimmer.
Yeah.
Like training crazy, and then I went into soccer, making like state and national teams. And it's just, I think it's the mindset of the actual individual themselves. So I wouldn't say like, things I'd done at soccer led to achieving high things in BJJ. It was more just the mindset of being able to.
But don't you think to be an elite athlete in any sport, you're gonna have to acquire a certain mindset, of resilience, of hard working, of accepting criticism in order to evolve.
Sure.
Maybe deprive yourselves from alcohol, going out, etc., etc., and be super disciplined.
Huge.
And I think that that is where I saw that on you both, right at the beginning. And I think that this is a massive, important thing in order to become a good athlete, like a really good athlete for a long period of time.
Yeah.
In anything,
100%. Yeah, no, definitely. I think if you do the party scene and you're not in the right mindset, and even the people you hang around, like your little group circle, friend circle.
Yeah, sure.
If you have the right people around you, you have the right mindset when it comes to the training and the party side, then you'll do well. But it's very easy to fall into the side of, going through like the party or the girls and that kind of thing,
Yeah.
So being able to stay focused and knowing what you want and being really competitive and trying to get the best out of what you can do is is a big part.
Mm.
Yeah.
Can we just go back to like that kind of history? So when were you swimming?
Swimming, man. So swimming would have been since I was like a little kid. Like we're talking 5-year-old.
Yeah.
5-year-old to probably all my primary school years to about 12,
Okay.
11, 10, 12, somewhere around there. And I made like, Darling Downs because I was on Stanthorpe down there.
That's I can also connect with that a little bit. So I went
not with the swimming.
Not with the swimming. Yeah, I can't swim at all. Man.
Can't swim.
I'm a drowning bear, man. Drowning bear in the water. But like I can connect with understanding how difficult swimming is because I went to Toowoomba Grammar, so same kind of district area of Darling Downs.
Yep.
And man, these guys are training like 6 a.m. in the morning to 8 a.m. just swimming for 2 hours. The moment they finish school, they're training again for another 2 or 3 hours, and that's every day.
Yeah.
Counting tiles, literally.
Yeah,
that's
man,
what I
counting
always
tiles
say.
and just going. And I'm like, man,
this is black line.
Just following that back
That's
up.
like my best friend when you just look at the black line for like hours.
It's a grueling, like this mental kind of callous that you build up. It's a mentally toughening thing.
To just
definitely work hard for hours and hours every morning, every night, every morning, every night.
You got it. And it's great. It's a great sport for like lung expansion.
Okay.
So your fitness.
Right.
If you start as a kid, you got strength, like a lot of strength as a young kid.
Yeah. That you're probably gonna develop above other people. Like this lung capacity and stuff you talk about is something unique that a lot of other guys don't have.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I think probably that's something that helps with your cardio a lot. Like you might not train for a while, and when you come back, even though you might feel fatigued, you don't really notice it if you train with Tony. You know what I'm saying? Like with other people, with me particularly, if I take a heap of time off, I get tired. For him, sometimes he comes and trains and you can't even notice that he's tired.
It's very
and it could be his body language and stuff, but I do think that has something to do with the swimming aspect of things.
100%, yeah.
So after the swimming, what was the next kind of...
So the next target was the soccer thing. Yeah. So I started the same, I was doing soccer and swimming together.
Yeah.
But then I was started to do really well in soccer. I started to make some pretty big sides.
Yeah.
And then, and I reckon I was about 11 to 12-year-old. So the last couple of years of primary school, I made some like schoolboy state teams, and I made a national team to go to Japan, and compete over there, and I knew that I was never going to make it staying in Stanthorpe.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen because there's no opportunity down there for a young kid to make it. I remember sitting down on the couch with my old man, and I just said, I want to move to the city. And try and make it, and actually try to do something out of it. And then he just sort of looked at me and it's like, really? I'm only 12-year-old. That's grade 7, primary school. Yeah. And then he was all for it. He was keen as. And then pretty much when I have my mind set to something, I'll do it.
Yeah.
And nothing will sway me off that path. So that happened. And then I, at 12-year-old, I organised it all, and I knew a good friend of mine through state soccer. Yeah. And I lived with his family for the whole high school years, which was 6 years or so. I lived with his family.
12 to about 17, 18.
Yep. And in those years I lived with his family, and they're like a second mum and dad and a second brother and sister. And from then on I just kept training. It was all about training. It wasn't about girls or partying. It was none of that. Zero, man. It was just soccer. Like lived and breathed it for those 6-7 years. It was just intense. And I made some big sides and done really well. And then, and then I had this knee injury that destroyed my whole goals and career. Yeah. Which was pretty sad because I was only like 15 or something, 15 years old. And I remember going to a physio. They sent me to the physio. They kept saying, it's a strength issue, it's a problem in your legs. And I remember they put this little tester on my quad and they go, just tense up so we know your strength level. And I tense up and it goes like right off the scale. And then they go, oh right, geez, well, it's nothing to do with your strength then. And then they started massaging, and I knew straight away that it's just, it wasn't nothing to do with the physio or strength. There's an issue inside of the knee. I had this rare condition where a bone was popped up off my knee. It actually just popped and sat there. And they had to go into surgery to pin it down, And then you can imagine there's all cartilage over the knee, and when it popped through cartilage. So there's a lot of fragments everywhere. It was a mess in there.
Yeah.
I remember the surgeon saying, he's like, if you got a call up from Manchester United, he's like, they won't take you because your insurance is going to be too high, or you're too much of a risk for more injury.
Yeah.
He's like, and there's a good chance you just can't play soccer anymore because you're just going to destroy your knee. And I was a young kid, 15-year-old, and just destroyed my whole goals, you know?
Yeah.
And then I had to recalibrate my whole mind and work out what I wanted to do, what I really wanted to do in life, because I always have to have a goal. If I don't have goals, then it's
easy to get lost, You don't know what to kind of work towards or what your purpose of existing is.
100%.
I think a lot of people kind of struggle with that, whether, you know what I mean, like just in general kind of life, that it's hard for people. And I think, you know, that's for a lot of like junior kids or the teens and stuff, it gives them something to kind of like be excited about. It gives them something to, particularly coming and training jiu-jitsu and stuff like that. I mean, I think everyone's felt like that before, you know what I mean? Like where they don't know what to do after school, they don't know what to do as a career, they don't know
goals,
and like,
that's right.
I know you have like an awesome, you know, this is a really awesome goal that you have because you're such a talented individual, but for some people that maybe aren't as talented or didn't have the genetic, you know, advantage athletically or whatever, it's hard for them to find things as well. And I think the cool thing about jiu-jitsu,
so they can go through the academic side.
Yeah, they can go through the academic side too, for sure. But I think jiu-jitsu is like a really interesting athletic sport because it's so much more based on knowledge and understanding and not athleticism. And that's something that I think a lot of people kind of get excited about when they see jiu-jitsu. There is always an athletic component, but for whatever reason, it's so technical and it's so vast in like the knowledge of techniques that even people that aren't athletic can equalize things by having more understanding and being clear and sharper with the techniques and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Now, BJJ it's huge with the mental side.
So when did you stop playing? Like you figured out that you can't do any more soccer. That like you had unfortunately had like a injury that you couldn't really adjust for.
Yeah. So what happened was so I had this surgery done and then I had a good 8 months off. I was in a cast from my hip to my ankle.
Okay. Right. Like a full leg cast.
Full leg. Yeah. Right through. Yeah. And that was for a long time. It was probably maybe 3 months, something like that. Yeah. So you can imagine I lost all muscle definition.
All atrophied.
Went right downhill. And then after I came off that, I tried to rehab and whatever, and I tried to go back to playing soccer. Yeah. And you can imagine, I'm in a prime years of soccer career, like that 14, 15-year-old. Yeah. So when I was, so you can imagine if I stopped when I was 14, I stayed at the talent as a 14-year-old, and after my injury I went back. I'm still down here as a 14-year-old, but I tried to compete with the 16-year-olds, but I was still here. I could never catch, I could never close that gap. Yeah. And I lost motivation, and I just wasn't interested in the sport anymore. Yeah. I sacrificed my life for that sport. I left home when I was 12. You imagine I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, and my mum had to let me go as the youngest kid. I was the youngest one to leave the house, and we got a pretty close family bond. So, never could get back to that level where I was, which was the top of in Brisbane around, and then I gave it up.
This adaptability that we have to have in life, and as you get older, you're gonna see it. Like gonna change. Like you had goals, and then for some reason something happened, and you're gonna have to change to try have other goals. Sometimes you even gonna achieve that goal, and then you're like, that wasn't really what I was expecting, and then I have to look for something again, to have a drive, which I think is very important. Jiu-Jitsu has a lot of this adaptability, you know what I mean? Like, and even like sometimes, you training, you got injury, like, what can I do? I always done that, like, I can't move my shoulder. All right, well, I can ride a bicycle. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think this is something that the older you get, the more you understand, like, it's super important to be adaptable. Like, I'm having this injury on this knee. Okay, I can do maybe this side half guard. So I try to bring someone to train on this side. Jiu-Jitsu has this component of adaptability, and that can be very useful for life, as a mindset as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and sometimes there's going to be things you can't do. Like if you can no longer compete at the highest level in that sport, you might find something else. I think I have the same kind of thing with rugby. You know what I mean? Like I was fairly competitive, you know, I was competing at the highest level in Brisbane and stuff like that as a, you know, I don't know, 22, 23, whatever.
Rugby league?
Rugby union.
Union.
Rugby union, you know what I mean? And I understand the kind of feeling, you know what I mean? You've dedicated everything you've done towards this one thing and it doesn't work out. And the thing is like, at some point in time you realize that, you know, setbacks are a part of life, and whether it's business or whether it's buying a house or whether it's with a romantic relationship or doing any type of sport,
100%.
Setbacks are going to happen, and it's more about how you respond to things. And I think that's the same thing you're talking about with adaptability, like and the thing is like ending one chapter doesn't mean that it's not quitting or giving up or whatever. Like, man, sometimes it didn't work out in that area. Like, you want to buy this house but someone else buys it. You can't go there and be aggressive, like, man, I wanted this house. Like, you have to let go of things and move on, and that's a part of learning and dealing with life.
I would say 99% of the time, people have setbacks.
Yeah.
Just about 100%.
I think 100%.
Yeah, I'd say 100%. You know, and if
you're always going to be met by something difficult or a challenge.
You learn so much from the setbacks.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, man, it's not just sporting, it's relationships and stuff as well. This is huge. This is a big part of mine as well. I think you've been through it. Yeah, everyone's been through it. Eduardo's been through it as well. But having setbacks and learning and growing and being better
for sure.
is huge, man. That's not just sport as well. It's life.
I think that...
And there's always going to you're always going to use whatever the setback was. When you move forward, when you go do another thing, there's going to be a few lessons that are like so important for you to do well on a completely different, you know what I mean? For example, in this such a young age, you leave home, you started to be so focused and disciplined, you know what I mean? Like, you learn a lot of values. And sometimes the values is what, you know, is very important as well, you know, to take with you, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's huge. You know, you're living in... You imagine you're 13 years old and you're living in someone else's house. You can't just go to the fridge and help yourself to food. You can't just say, oh, I want more of this, or I want to buy this, I want to do this. You got to sort of adapt and be sort of held back a little bit.
Yeah.
And you mature up really, really
but
quick.
it's a different level of independence at a much earlier age, man.
Yeah,
so, you guys had you guys are very, very similar. Like, I had a lot of thinking about coming here today, and I always thought about that. Like, I even thought, like, throughout my life, I've been around a lot of jiu-jitsu, very good jiu-jitsu players. And I noticed a lot of them, they done really well, but they could be world champion. And the reason they haven't got there was what was missing for them was something that I saw on YouTube, like in terms of this discipline, focus, hard work, has the athlete mindset of like, okay, I'm gonna win, I'm gonna lose. Next day I'm gonna be at the gym. You know, doesn't party, doesn't use drugs, you know, all that things that are super important, and we'll have deprive yourselves from things in order to make it the best you can be, the best version of yourself. And I think you came from another elite sport background. This was very important. I recognized this super early. I remember you two talking to people that knew jiu-jitsu at the time. Afterwards, everyone comes and talks, you know what I mean? After it happened, everyone can talk. But before then, I remember it happened to both of you guys. Like, you competing as a white belt. I think Anton was probably blue, or I can't remember exactly. But people used to, I used to say, look, this guy's going to be really good. And people go, there's no way he's going to be good. You know what I mean? Like, they couldn't see what I was seeing, you know, like, of course I was more with you guys. I can see.
Rafael with me as well.
Rafael was with you, and I remember clearly, and I think someone else did the same with Anton. Or people would go, oh yeah, he's very strong. I was like, man, you're not, you know, like
full strength.
I mean, you're not, man. He's not even.
That's the most common response
for you.
It's like, man, you haven't even like he's strong, but he's not even doing any strength, man. You're not understanding, you know. But then people started to realize, you know, like, and I think you guys have a lot of similarities, you know, like, and the results start to come. And one of these amazing things that you guys achieved as an athlete was having going to be able to represent Australia, you know what I mean, in Abu Dhabi. So I would like you guys to cover, because both had experience at different times, and I think it's going to be really interesting to bring this up. So Tony, for example, I was thinking about that. I think you were the first guy from Queensland to go. Correct if I'm wrong, but as far as I remember, you're the first guy from Queensland to win the trial, a very disputed trial. And at the time, I always said that I still believe that Jiu-Jitsu in Melbourne and Sydney are 5 years ahead of Queensland. It's still in numbers, in more practitioners, etc. And at the time, that was super clear. Like, people wouldn't even hear about Queensland. Like, the people go, oh no, there is no Jiu-Jitsu there. And so I think when you won that, and then you went to represent Australia, everyone like, oh Jesus, man, look out, where are these guys from? Oh, these guys are from Queensland. Oh, these guys are from Gara, and so how was the experience in Abu Dhabi? You know what I mean? Like, and how was to represent Australian Jiu-Jitsu? How was the level of the? I've been with you at that time, like the first time I think you went. Yeah. Your family went there as well, which is another similarities you guys two have, which you have a family that supports your endeavors, your sporting endeavors. That's super crucial as well. And but anyway, how was that competition and
experience of it?
The experience, the whole experience, like the level.
Like the Sydney, the national trials there for Abu Dhabi, it was pretty amazing because I wouldn't say my jiu-jitsu was at a really high level, but had this instinctive reactions to moves and understanding. I remember you used to always tell me about how I just had this instinctive reaction to people's movements or even my movement.
Yeah.
And I still got the fights on video from Sydney, and I think it was 6 fights as a blue belt, and I remember doing these things without even thinking. It just happened. But it was a pretty incredible experience. It was 6 fights, and I won the 6, and then got the ticket to Abu Dhabi. It was a pretty incredible experience when I was in Abu Dhabi, because this was pretty big. This is probably like the first, apart from soccer, this was the first big thing as a different sport.
And Jiu-Jitsu, this is super unique. Like, there's nothing like it where they're gonna put your flag up of your country. You know what I mean? At the end, they're gonna put the anthem
like a world championship. It's almost like the Olympics.
For sure. I mean, Jiu-Jitsu wasn't massive then, as it is now. Like, it's grown a lot now, huge now.
Short period of time, for sure.
But back then it wasn't huge. But then the name started to get big. But and I remember going through 3 or 4 fights and beating them all, and Wada was on the sideline, like, smile from here to here.
Well, remember, what I remember? Remember a funny story that describes a lot the Abu Dhabi as well. Like, we were in the background there, you warming up, and there was this TV crew with all the Arab guys, interviewing, only them focus on the guys, these local stars. And I look at the guy's gear, and the guy gear has like, man, it's not conforming to the
regulation
whatsoever. It's so tiny. It's ridiculous. Like, you can see that it needs at least double of that length to become legal. So I come and I call. In Brazil, you normally call the code, like the guys that are going to be referees. You go professor, like, just to make them feel good about it, which is like a respectful thing. So I said, like, professor, please. Have you guys watched that? Have you guys had a look at the fellas from Abu Dhabi gear, the uniform? And he said, man, do you want me to lose my job? I said, oh, Jesus, this is going to be
Don't say a thing about the locals.
It's going to be a tough day,
They have the front seats here, and you're at the corner at the back.
They pick who's going to fight and which one and what time, whatever the time the shake is there, they picking the fight, you know. But the arena as well, like...
Oh, yeah, it's top of the
like, fully air conditioner. Like, screens, there's people interviewing you. I went and watched fights from my hotel. I was a bit tired, and I put the TV on. I was like, oh, I can't believe that, And I remember the first time I was there, they also having a draw for a Porsche, I think. So I keep going back and forward on the line, 17 times.
Trying to win the car.
That was good, man. Like, I think it was 4 fights, one, and then I got to the 5th fight, which was the semi-finals. And the guy that beat me, he ended up getting the gold medal.
Okay.
And I just lost, man. I remember, like, it was from 2 points, 1 sweep. One sweep was 2 points.
Yeah.
And I remember watching the video back 100 times, and I was this close to getting him. Like I was this close to getting him in multiple sweeps.
Yeah.
And he had that capoeira style, very jumping and breaking his hip and flying here.
Super flowy.
Really, really flowy. And I remember watching the video, man, and I looked back and I thought, I remember I had him in the sweep position. I had him ready to go, and I was like, man, what are you doing? You got to grab this arm, not this arm, It was just something as small as grabbing the wrong arm.
Yeah.
Such a small
Something so small, could have grabbed the right arm, got a sweep, it could have won, and then final man with it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I remember as well? I remember a fight that you had with, I think it was quarterfinals on the Open.
Yeah.
Quarterfinals, I think it was, on the Open against a bigger guy. It was an absolute division. And you got a foot lock at the end. And the guy didn't tap, and the foot was on, and we're like, man, keep it going. And then we were like, the time went, and the guy ended up winning the fight. The guy was, man, next day we're walking outside. The guy's like this. Like, can't walk. Can't walk. We're like, oh man, look, that was, he just didn't want to tap.
I wanted to take that foot home with me, that's right. Yeah, but that was that trip, which was a great trip, man. It was amazing. But then the next one was when I went to the New Zealand trials. Remember this?
Yeah, with
Joey.
Big
Joe.
Joey was interesting because he was, I think, 16.
Yeah.
And he was like, I thought he nearly won, right? He did it so amazing. Like, he won fights that you thought he wouldn't overcome, Yeah. And I thought he had big chances, and we keep motivating him, and I was like, man, I'm gonna get into trouble but I never thought I was gonna get in trouble because there's over 18, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna be proud because he's 16, he's winning that,
That's right.
I think I'm not gonna get into trouble. Let's take him,
That's
but he did amazing. Well, it was a funny trip as well. Remember, he had this big pizza on his armpit on the flight, we start giving him some shit.
The pizza? Like
that sweat patch.
That sweat patch. Huge, man. His was a family one, family pizza, We start giving him the shit, got upset. It was kind of funny, man.
Yeah, that was a really good trip, man. I really enjoyed that. Like all these trips I had with Eduardo, even yourself, we went on a few, but I went on a lot of trips with Eduardo. I went to everywhere, all over the world, man. Abu Dhabi, went to Brazil, went to the New Zealand trip, they're all amazing, and I have to really take my hat off to Eduardo for supporting me and doing this. This is big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look,
awesome, man.
I think it's a give and take. I've done with you two guys because I look at you guys and I saw what I was telling before, what I couldn't see that happen with a lot of my friends, and myself even at one point, like when I was like, I could go, man, can I do this for, be a competitor, and keep competing, or I'm gonna go uni and go to the beach, and you guys had that drive, you guys, that you guys brought yourself. So I saw that. So yeah, I'm super proud of you guys. It was like it's a shared happiness, this way. Yeah. Still doing now.
I think there's a lot of things that contribute to that kind of idea. Look, to be honest, I think one of the biggest parallels comes from the history of your family and stuff. I don't know too much about yours, but my grandparents and stuff were, they're farming people. And I, in my opinion, I think these are probably the hardest working people in the world.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if they're in China. It doesn't matter if they're in in any other part of Europe or whatever. These are the hardest working people on the planet, and I don't know.
And went that to migrants.
Yeah,
then you double the hard work.
And man, they just have this ethic of work and just overcoming issues, and everything's about just solving problems and getting better at things and improving, and they're not afraid to fail and just try things and do stuff, and if it doesn't work out, you figure it out. And I think that is probably one of the biggest reasons for this type of attitude. Is that gets passed on to you from your grandparents or your parents, and then you just kind of trying your best to keep up with their kind of.
Well, it's funny you say that, man, because my grandparents and parents are exactly that.
Yeah.
Another similarities. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly. They were farmers, man. They came farmers. They worked hard, man. They worked hard for nothing.
And they both migrants too, right?
Yeah. From Sicily.
Yeah, yours as well, isn't it?
Yeah, my grandparents.
Migrants, you arrive in a place, you have your family, you have to bring support. You don't know no one. You don't have network. You know what I mean? You can't call a family member to help because they're not here. It's tough, man.
Yeah. So no, I agree, man. But the family aspect is a big part. Not just like having that bond, that connection, the love from a family member to help you, do
whatever it is.
Yeah, whatever it is.
It's being supportive to help you through whatever struggles you have as well.
100%, yeah.
Paul, Anton, again, like, so you initiated like that like I think you initiated that you put Queensland in the world of jiu-jitsu in terms of competitors, right? Within Australia, and also with the result there, you went there Abu Dhabi, so even more like people. Oh wow, yeah. And then Anton like just made it like, look, there's the only guy now to have a world medalist male black belt
in the gi.
In the gi, is from Brisbane. You know what I mean? He trains a guy, teaches a guy, etc. So he just like consolidate, put this way. You know what I mean? That jiu-jitsu is everywhere in Australia now. You guys talking about like there's a lot of good guys from Adelaide and etc. So that. Which happened in Brazil as well. Initially it was Rio, then Rio and São Paulo. Now you have guys from everywhere. You know what I mean? It just expands.
I think all the other guys that you're talking about, like, for whether they're from Adelaide or Melbourne or whatever, most of them have transitioned to the gi. And I think the biggest reason for everybody, no gi, is transition to no gi is because there's like a piece of the pie that's been missing for like, all the other athletes, like all the guys that are Brazilian, all the guys that are, high level competitors that have had the best coaches for the last however long jiu-jitsu's been around, they had a missing component of technique, which is all the leg lock stuff, all the heel hooks and everything. And it doesn't mean that there aren't guys from Brazil that are good leg locks. There always has been, there always will be. There's a lot of different variations of stuff there, like luta libre and whatever. There's a lot of leg lock stuff there too. But in terms of I
think the rules have stopped a lot.
Yeah, for sure. But the guys that have dominated jiu-jitsu for the last maybe like 5 years before this, maybe for the last 10 years, whatever, have been predominantly Brazilian guys that not only dominate the gi but also dominate the no gi, and that's just been present. But now there's been a shortcut, and the shortcut is, if you get good at heel hooks, if you have a decent guard, you're going to beat guys because you're on the same level now. They're not good at leg locks. Your starting point's the same.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're trying to beat these guys that are, world champion level dudes in the gi that have had that level and have had that coaching for 30, 40, 50 years, however long jiu-jitsu's been an active competitive sport, man, it's much more difficult. So I think most people are transitioning to the no-gi stuff just because it's like, it's going to be easier for me to do well. It's going to be easier for me to do well because if I get good at leg locks, I can beat any guy that's a world champion in the gi, which is interesting, I think.
I mean, it's very important to have an all-rounded game.
I agree.
It's super important.
I 100% agree. And like, you can make so many different arguments. Like, I think the number one function for jiu-jitsu is the point it started, and we've talked about this on other kind of things. It's like the point of jiu-jitsu is the reason you started, for MMA, for self-defense, be able to protect yourself. And like, sports jiu-jitsu is awesome and it's great, and most guys that are world champion level black belts, they probably are going to be able to defend themselves in a street altercation and stuff like that, but probably not against a very, very high level wrestler, or probably not against a very, very, because unless your game or the thing that you're good at is specific to self-defense, like there's certain positions that translate well to self-defense, like the closed guard and certain top positions and things like that, you're probably going to struggle with that. And you've seen that in MMA. You've seen world champion level guys go into MMA and do terrible. Some guys not. Some guys do really, really well. They figure it out. But some guys that have just started for the first couple of years, they're getting destroyed. They're getting knocked out all the time, or they're getting beaten up, or they just can't get wins.
I mean,
super interesting.
If you turn the clock back, maybe that's like when UFC started.
Yeah.
You can go in there with one dominant martial art.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can do alright.
100%.
Now you
can't do that anymore.
Now
absolutely.
you have to have a little bit of everything.
100%.
And if you don't, you're going to get destroyed. So you have to have a little bit of all the martial arts to enter the cage.
But even guys that like gravitate towards their biggest strength, let's say it's a jiu-jitsu guy, and unless they specifically have skills that translate well to MMA, they still don't do well. Yeah. Does that make sense? Like, for example, if you're a guy that's really good at specific open guard positions and that's your style of jiu-jitsu, that's not going to translate well to MMA.
Oh, no. You got to be specific to the sport.
100%.
So, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You got to have a little bit of everything. If you're good at the open guard, yeah, whatever, but you got to be good at wrestling. You got to be able to get out, get up.
I totally agree.
And all that. So, it's very important.
I just think I think people have, and I think this is just because of, like, one, like, all sorts of, like, commercial stuff and just, like, man, it's a business. Doing, like, self-defense stuff where people are throwing punches and kicks and stuff like that, I think that's kind of, like, come out of jiu-jitsu a little bit. Mm-hmm. Not in every aspect. Some people spend a lot of time working on that. But I think as an overall thing, it's moved away from that more. Man, when you talk about the type of training you did when you started jiu-jitsu, man, it's like turn the lights off and defend yourself. Mm. Man, this time you can't do that anymore. Someone will pull a lawsuit on your gym or whatever. But like, I talk about this a lot. It's just a funny idea to talk about. The more you create rules and the more you kind of like put things in a rule set, the more you isolate the skills. And the more you isolate the skills, the less effective it becomes.
Yeah, but the more commercial it becomes,
100%,
right? So
100% commercial.
Then you have the events, like there are started to pay more money, etc. So it's a give and take. But I think it's a responsibility for the coaches to actually promote self-defense, to actually make people understand concepts, and take that with them. Because otherwise you just think only 100% about the sport. Yeah. That's people need to have the other understanding as well. That's crucial.
Yeah. You gotta have a little bit of everything. So like if you have a club, you gotta have the classes where they're there just for self-defense.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the guys that are there just for fitness, general health. You have the guys there for competition that are trying to do well.
Yeah.
You have all these different categories, and they're all great. There's nothing wrong with, there's no negatives for each.
Everyone has your goal.
Everyone has their own goals.
To kind of like answer their needs, right?
Yeah, but just on that, I would say, I say this to everyone, but I feel like females for jiu-jitsu to learn it, it's huge. I think it's just about a must that all females should learn some kind of close proximity of martial arts, self-defense.
I agree.
I agree with you. I actually tell the parents, I tell people in general, this is me. If I had a daughter and if I had a boy, I would really be inclined more to my daughter to train than my boy. You know what I mean? I just think it's so important. But I would have all of them.
I think that's man. It's
for the mindset, for the be able to feel confident enough to don't freeze. You know what I mean? And have an attitude and have values that are important.
Yeah, you could be the best. You could be training kickboxing for 10 years, female, male, whatever. Someone grabs you from behind and grabs you, throws you on the ground.
All those skills are gone.
You can't do kicks. You can't do any of this. So this jiu-jitsu is very, very important for females, for everyone, but for females.
For females particularly because of like the same like idea of the martial art itself. It's designed, the whole purpose of it is designed for smaller opponents to survive or beat bigger opponents.
And
that's
like
and
all that,
100%.
100%.
So Tony, let's bring the Brazilian trip, which was super awesome. So I always when I arrive here in Australia, I always like people that I get along with, and I feel would beneficiate to have this experience. Of course, you need to get along with the person because you're gonna travel with the person. It's a big thing, and so I used to take them to Brazil, and also the gym wasn't too big. There wasn't so many. Like now it's so hard to live here even for a weekend, But that time was a bit easier, and.
How many trips did you do before our trip to Brazil?
Probably 2. Like
with other students?
It's so no.
Personal, family.
No. Yeah, just going. Yeah.
So was our trip was the first one?
I think it was the second.
With your students.
Yeah. And the funny thing was that trip was so unique because we organized a trip and we bought the tickets.
Do you want to talk about what the trip was for? So there's a competition?
So the trip was like, there was a combination of things like when go there, I'm going to see my family, which, is far away and it's hard, but at the same time, so it's the best things to combine like work and family and business because it's so far away.
Yeah.
So you give them the opportunity to get to know the Brazilian roots of jiu-jitsu, the culture, and aside, Tony was a competitor, was a really high level competitor at that time, like really on a on its perfect like competition shape, etc., and keen to compete. So that we knew would be the state championship and the South American Pan American championships.
And you were competing as a
purple belt.
Right.
Purple belt. So we had that, and it was funny thing, like we got, I had Jason as a good friend of mine as well, and they didn't know each other well, so I said, guys, we're gonna go, me, you, Jason, and he goes, like, both went to me and said, man, I don't know this guy, man, I'm not too sure. And the other guy said the same, you know, and I'm like, holy moly, here we go. So it's like,
you booked the tickets like 3 weeks before.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Last minute.
Yeah, but they all both like super hesitant, super worried, and I'm like, Jesus, man, hope this works out. Otherwise, it'd be a pain in the ass, you know. And
well, I didn't know I knew Jason just from training.
Yeah.
But I didn't know him like close.
Yeah. So
and Jason is not a person that by knowing from far away you think you're like, oh, this is we're gonna get along well.
So if people don't know who Jason is, he's also another student of Eduardo's. That was started here as a white belt and is also a black belt and has his own gym as well. So.
Yes.
So yeah,
runs Gahalorton, you know.
Right.
But
we used to train together a lot. But we used to clash a lot. Our styles like clashed.
Yeah, he's
all
a
the
very
time.
rough, rugged kind of dude.
And
Yours is a lot more technical. And
well, yeah, I just I never felt like I got outstrength by many at all. But we used to clash a lot.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a fan of rolling with Jason, but I did when we had to. But because of the trip, we got really close.
They got super close, man. That was so funny, man.
Yeah.
That was so funny to see, like, these people. And that's the other thing. When you travel with someone, you're really gonna get to know that person. You know what I mean? Like, and it was awesome because you guys are like so bonded, and I was like, oh my god, this is what a good positive turn.
Slept in the same room for 2 weeks.
But the funny thing, there was a couple of super funny things about that trip. Like, first of all, when we were about to leave, Jason realized, because he never left Australia, he realized that he needs a passport to leave Australia. We're like,
3
what?
weeks before the international
no, we're all
flight.
booked. And back on the day, Brazilian consulate used to give like a lot, which is very stupid, you know, but they used to take forever to give your approval. And they couldn't give you like in a short notice. So we were obligated to stop in Argentina.
That's
right?
Yeah.
So here we go in Argentina, like, which is a very European, South American country, cold weather. Jason in his singlets, red singlets, rugby ball. We're like, Jesus, man, what is happening? Tongs, you know, coming to a restaurant. It was super funny. But we had a great time in Argentina. It was a great trip. We trained there. I taught a class, and it was awesome. We visited a gym.
Yeah, that was good.
We had great food.
I still keep on contact, but I still follow a guy that was a blue belt there.
Yes.
At that gym, and he's a black belt now. It's good.
Nice.
We just see each other. Yeah, it's really cool to see this.
No, that was awesome, and they gave us a lot of like good places to visit. That's a good thing about the jiu-jitsu community. You go anywhere in the world, you take your gear, and you go, man, where are the good places to eat?
And you're like family. You're like family to them.
They'll look after me. If you're nice, you come nice. So.
And they give you like a whole list of all these restaurants.
Man, exactly. You know? But the local restaurants, not the tourists, which is very, very important.
Tell everyone about the pasta restaurants there.
Well, Tony has an Italian background. Tony, this is another thing. The cultural thing is such an amazing difference. Like Brazilians, if they had spare cash, they wouldn't buy a new car. They'll build a barbecue in their garden, right? Italians will put a pizza oven. That's a fact, right? So, but you can really see that when every time we push to a restaurant, a Brazilian will push to a steak restaurant, and an Italian will push for a pasta restaurant. It's a fact. But the Italians, even if you go to a Brazilian restaurant, all you can eat barbecue, they will go and get the bolognese. You know what I mean? Like, they are like...
Well, we'd have breakfast,
extremely.
We'd have meat for breakfast, we'd have meat for lunch, we'd have meat for dinner. I was like, man, I need some pasta in this body. You know, this body feeds off pasta. Give me some carbohydrates.
That was so funny. Like,
he just looked at me like I'm crazy. I'm on another planet.
We all look at each other like, man, these guys... Tony thinking about me, this is a very cultural thing, interesting to understand. Like, you look, man, these guys are insane, man. They have steak for breakfast. I'm going, man, these guys have antipasti the whole day, and, you know, pasta. And then the funny one, like, the Aussie, Jason's like, even though we're all Aussies, but Jason goes like, oh, can we have like a prawn cocktail? We're like, mate, we're in Argentina. We don't have even a sea around, mate. It's so far away.
It's going to be some bad
So it's a bit off, obviously.
Yeah.
But the good thing about that you know, in talk about the competition, that was super awesome, because when I arrived there, the training was really good. You had a really good guy that you're training a lot with. That was a very interesting thing right at the end.
Yes, in Brazil, yeah.
Igor Ferreira.
Yeah.
Good
So,
guy, man.
good for awesome guy.
Really good guy. Yeah.
And so Tony's been training a lot. Everything's going well. I go to Tony and say, Tony, look, there's one massive difference between here and Australia. I have to let you know. And that's what I really like what your answer was. I don't know if you remember that. Really good memory, long distance, man. These things that really touch me. I said, man, it's going to be so noisy there. You have not a clue, man. Like, we're talking about, like, people screaming and drums and shit, and they going, ah.
Yeah.
And he goes, I like that. This is cool. I can't wait. I said, fuck, that's great.
Yeah, like motivating, but it's completely different atmosphere what you get here in Australia. Completely different, man.
Yeah, he just get like some dull sounds or someone going,
people yelling here and there, but there, man, it's like what I explained, like it's drums and everyone's yelling.
Man, it's crazy. And it was like,
nuts.
that was like, because then as Tony kept progressing, so the first comp was amazing because you did a flying bow and arrow choke, right? Which is probably, I would say, it's probably the 5 best moves I ever seen in a competition my entire life. And it's really hard. I like to kind of coach and, you know, scream and tell things and try to be a supporter when the other crowd's supporting and film. I didn't, but I wish I filmed that, or I wish someone filmed that because it was insane.
We didn't get that on film, but
the whole stadium was like, oh wow, you know, which is amazing. And then people come, oh, where are you guys from? And that was super amazing. The crazy fact about that is afterwards we went for probably a pizza. I tried to make him happy because he won the comp. And we went to this bar that I used to like, knew the waitress back on the day. And they left. I met some friends, you know, and had a beer with them. And I met the guy that Tony choked him out. He was having a beer. And the guy said a lot of things to me. It's like, man, like I wasn't. He said, man, you know what? At least I lost for that move because it was so nice. I didn't want to lose for. But they at that time they did not have a clue. And I think still to this day, like it's a lot of Brazilians there that didn't travel, didn't go competing around the world. They don't understand how you can have, like in Australia, they don't understand, like, man, how can someone from Australia come here and win, this guy that has 5 sponsors, like they could not expect that,
Yeah, man, I remember that. I remember that fight very clearly, and I even remember the position and where I was to get the choke. And again, it was an instinctive move.
Completely instinctive.
It was an instinctive move, man. It's just the way our bodies were. And bow and arrow choke was one of my go-tos when I got the back. Just one of my go-tos. And I thought, well, if I can do it on the ground,
you can do it standing.
Why can't I do it standing? And I literally remember like jumping on the guy, and it was in the air, and grabbed the neck, and we flew around and fell, and it was a bow and arrow. And I remember it clearly. And I do remember Eduardo like jumping up, like arms were in the air, man. It was like, whoa, shit, what was this?
Oh, that was awesome, man. That was awesome.
But it was that was really good, man. It was called Conde Coma, right? That was the name of the
competition.
The competition, yeah. And I remember getting the medal and the shirt. I remember something happened with the shirt.
Which is a very famous, by the way, is a very famous jiu-jitsu practitioner from Japan. Conde Coma, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, right.
That she brought jiu-jitsu, the guys that brought jiu-jitsu to Brazil region.
Yeah, and driving to the events, it was typical Eduardo style. We didn't know exactly where we were going.
Man, this has happened multiple times.
I'm sure it's
No, multiple countries. I remember,
there's bad stories.
Yeah, man, I remember going to Japan and booking a hotel near the stadium, or where we thought the stadium was.
Yeah.
Turns out, lucky, I'm like, no, we need to go there the day before. And lucky,
check it out, the place.
Lucky so much we went there the day before, because we went there and there's like some Japanese K-pop band playing or something like that. And we're like, is there a jiu-jitsu competition on tomorrow? And they're like, no. Man, we've just booked the accommodation and everything in this area so we can go to the competition. And we're like, it's not far, we'll walk there. Anyway, turns out this
other side of the country.
Yeah, not the other side of the country. But it's still, we're still in Tokyo.
As long as you're in the right country.
Yeah, we're in the right country, you already did your job. Yeah. Right country, right city, that's 2 down. The rest you can figure out. So, lucky it was only like, I don't know, 40 minute train ride or something like that. But yeah, just
it is funny.
I thought it was crazy, man. Yeah. We were like driving around and every street Eduardo would pull over and just ask some random guy on the street, oh, do you know where the jiu-jitsu competition is? And and you drive like another 200 meters, and then you pull over. That's the next guy. You know, it's a competition yesterday. Keep going forever. We did this for like half an hour, man, and we eventually got there. But I've never seen this in my entire life, man. I've always been like super organised and pack everything and write everything down. But it just turns up.
Didn't we have the GPS at the time? I don't think they had the GPS at the time, man. That's the problem.
I clearly remember you stopping like every street and asking some random people on the side of the road where the competition.
Eventually we get
I was shocked, man. I was just going with the flow. I don't know what's going on. I just went with the flow.
I mean, it worked out anyway.
No, it was awesome. It was awesome. And then you had another comp as well there, which is like the South American comp as well, and you had like amazing matches. And
this was big. This one.
Boy, that was big because all the guys were like all these guys. I think they famous right now. You know what I mean? Like they must be famous right now. I'm pretty sure actually one of them is super famous, and it was a very man, it was like one of the days that everything like you do it like it's very like tight fight the whole time, but it works out really good, you know. That was awesome.
Yeah, you know that was the biggest competition. Well, one of the most sort of the most happy I've been in a sporting achievement. Out of all my achievements, this is one of the ones that's up the top. Probably 2, 3.
Yeah.
Top probably 3.
Big achievement, man. A big international title for somebody out of Australia that's not known for, you know, we're not known for having good jiu-jitsu practitioners.
Yeah. And they hated it. Remember, they hated the Australian guy beating them all. They
can't stand.
The guy that beat in the semi-final, as soon as they beat him, he went straight home. And he didn't.
They can't deal.
He would have came third.
Yeah.
He went straight home. So on the podium was just me and the guy. Second place.
Yeah.
But that was crazy when it comes to sound. Like this is the drums and this is the yelling. I remember
and the heat
anything.
Booing and stuff. Yeah.
And I always thought that these guys are fighting over there to put food on the table.
Yeah.
Not like here in Australia, they fight for fun.
Yeah.
They're fighting to put food on the table. Man.
They have to eat. They have sponsors. Otherwise, the guys can sponsor another 200 guys. Why would sponsor that guy? You know, like it's different, man.
It's just different type of
competitiveness and intensity.
They actually from like that guy with like poor background. You know what I mean? Like they got like a support, man. It's something the only thing they have in life that way or no highway. You know?
Yeah. So I remember 4 or 5 fights, man. I remember winning them all and standing on the podium with Eduardo and Jason and Mateus there, and it was a pretty amazing event. Pretty.
That was a good trip. Look. If you can, we know like as well. You like got this is another amazing achievement which you recently you participated of the Ninja Warrior Australia. Can you tell us about that? Like I realize you become even more stronger when we're training. So
it's like. I always like to have goals and just doing things out of the comfort zone.
Yeah. So explain what is that? This is a TV show?
Just a TV show, man, that it's an obstacle course. And they set up an obstacle course and you go through like heats, semi-finals, finals, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought to myself, you know, you guys are always known for my grip strength and whatever, and this sport, it's very grip strength dominated, like for endurance. And I thought I could do it. So I started training and I applied. And I went through this massive application process that took like forever. I ended up getting on the show.
Yeah, awesome.
And so it was down in Sydney, season 4. Yeah. And then I got to the heats and I went through to the semi-finals. It was an amazing experience. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. Glad I did it.
Boy, it's awesome achievement as well. Even for like I think I mentioned that to you before. Like because you've been a personal trainer for many years and you know like you train a lot of people and like I you trained me before in Argentina and I love it and work with you.
That's right.
And this is also really good achievement, you know, to prove to your clients as well. You know, it's like a motivation wise and even for yourself, obviously. Yeah,
I think the PT thing is massive. That contributes to everything that I do. If it's jiu-jitsu, it all relates.
It all relates.
The Ninja Warrior stuff relates. Even the soccer stuff, it all relates. Just even the mental side, like the mental thing is huge, man. I've trained thousands of people from all different backgrounds, injuries, mental issues, you name it. The whole package. Being able to sort out the mental stuff is huge. And if you can sort yourself out with the mental stuff, it's very powerful. Very, very powerful.
Is that something that you're going to continue kind of like working towards and trying to compete and stuff like that, or the Ninja Warrior kind of? Not sure yet.
Not sure, man. Probably not, to be honest. It was a bit of fun.
Yeah,
like, it's done. I'm not really into the television stuff, to be honest.
Yeah.
Television, in the end, it's a reality show. And
They just want...
Yeah, they want
cool.
ratings. And they do stuff behind the scenes. But, I mean, it was good fun. I loved it. Would I do it again? Don't know.
What are you kind of like your next goals moving through? Like, is there something that you kind of like looking forward to doing? Like, maybe you want to open your own gym, or you want to...
That's it, man. I spoke to Eduardo a lot about this.
Yeah.
It's actually there's a couple of things. I wouldn't mind doing a competition in jiu-jitsu again later on, as long as I can avoid injuries. That's the biggest issue. Sure. But it's probably maybe some BJJ comps as a black belt, and then opening my own gym.
Yeah.
With the gym, I have all the assets and tools to make it work. You know, so I have the PT stuff. It's easy. And then the jiu-jitsu side, and then the rock climbing, and being into rock climbing a lot. You can do that as well. You got heaps. You
heaps of avenues to kind of add into this.
Yeah, but start small. But that's definitely one of the big goals on my list. Yeah.
All right, cool, man.
What's just to finish it off, Tony? What's your advice, right? Because we like you started, and you know, like you hit your head, you know what I mean? You went hard and maybe in a direction, then you have to pull back, and you develop a lot of you have your grip quality is amazing quality, and you have to develop like a style, you know, and drill a lot to become really good at certain positions.
Yeah.
What do you recommend? What would be your advice for someone that's just starting jiu-jitsu right now, or about to start, or even the lower belts, like what they do, what they should do, in your opinion?
It's probably two or three things. It's you have to be patient. Don't think you're going to get really good in 10 weeks.
This is probably the most common misconception.
You just be patient, and don't think you're going to get really good really fast. Be humble. You know, you'll take a good 12 months of getting beaten up before you sort of start to find your
footing,
your game, your footing.
Ground,
Maybe ask questions, right? Because you ask so many questions, like all the time, like to so many people. I seen like how you develop, like, man, and this is so important too. A part of humility, I guess.
I think what he's saying though is really important. Like, a lot of people have this unrealistic expectation of how they're going to be able to perform. For whatever reason, they have a delusional idea of how things are going to go, and it doesn't matter if you're super strong. And sometimes the guys are instinctively good at jiu-jitsu. The problem is still, like, you can't compare yourself to other people, and you can't compare yourself to other things you see. And for me, as a coach of jiu-jitsu and seeing a lot of people, I think this is by far the most common issue. Is people are going into every role, and they need to win. And if they don't win, they don't feel good about themselves. But it shouldn't be like that.
No.
Now, if you're going to go and compete and be a competitor, all right, different story. Because that's what you're gearing toward.
But even then, if you lose, you learn.
Yeah, correct, 100%.
You lose, you learn.
But, like, you know, and you might have that goal, like, I'm doing everything I can to win this thing. That's okay, but it can't be every day.
No.
And if it is every day, the thing is you just keep getting left unhappy and upset and pissed off and annoyed.
True.
And what actually happens is they start to dislike jiu-jitsu, and eventually they end up quitting.
Yep.
Because they can't, again, like you said, get your mind in order to figure out, like, all right, what perspective do I need to put things into to actually do well in this stuff?
So you got to just stick at it as well. Like anything in life, you got to stick at it. You can't just do stuff for 6 months or 12 months, and you know, you got to stick at it, man. You got to do 5 years. You got to do 10 years if you want to get really high level. You got to go. You got to stick at it. Be humble. Ask questions. Just don't
understand setbacks are going to happen, overcome them, and keep going.
Enjoy setbacks, man. Enjoy setbacks, because
figure out how to. I know it's hard, but figure out how to.
Remember the time when I lost many competitions, man. I come back to training the next day. The next day. Remember this? I remember you commenting.
You both did that. That's where you see the champion, man. It's how you come back from a defeat, a loss. That's how you see the champion is right there. It's not winning at the party, man. Anyone can go to the party, you know what I mean?
Yo, it's easy to win. It's hard to come back after a loss, you know what I mean? It's easy to...
or win and have the humility to go, man, what could I do better here?
For sure.
And watch many times. Many guys don't do that, man. That's why they stop evolving.
Just have that don't give up mentality.
And that you take to business, you take to your relationships, you know, like interpersonal relationships, you take to everywhere, man. That works.
The relationship's a big one.
That's the most difficult thing. That we need another 2 hours.
Relationships, friendships, etc.
Everything.
This is huge.
People, anything to do with another human being is very, very hard to deal with, man.
Tony, is there anything else you wanna say I just would like to man, it was always a massive pleasure to have you with us. You know what I mean? Like it was a great journey, and I hope that keep going. You know what I mean? Like and it's very important to have you here with us. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy that has a lot of knowledge. I hope Jiu-Jitsu comes more in your life. You know what I mean? And we can share more of this knowledge and these exchanges, and people will beneficiate that a lot here at Garra. And
no, thanks, man. Like
good luck, man.
Yeah,
whatever you do, regardless.
Yeah, thanks, man. Like I appreciate it, and I really appreciate yourself. Like you're the one that brought me into the jiu-jitsu world. It's part of my life now. Part of my life, and yeah, man. I got to thank you for everything you've done for me too. And having awesome training partners like Anton is going to crazy levels now. This is rare to have this at your club. This is really, really, really
cool.
For
us being such a small club, and compared to so many
you guys, take your hat off to yourself too, man. Because you've done
appreciate it, but you guys, it's half of the job, man. It's the other half is yourselves. And Anton suffer from BJJ high spectrum.
For the living, breathing.
He says I'm autistic.
Jiu-jitsu autistic, man.
You're autistic?
Yeah, you tell him, hey, Anthony's different. What I mean is like you say, Anthony, you need to improve on your back. And then 1 week later, he's the best at the back. He can teach, man. You know what I mean? Like the way he sees Jiu-Jitsu is a bit different, I think. And I think, but he always working, he always trying to work hard and open for new positions. And it's very good. It's very nice to see that. It's not normal. In my opinion, like for what I see in Jiu-Jitsu, the way he can see is not very normal. It's not many guys, you know what I mean? Like
but you need.
But if he was that guy, and party doesn't have the words X, it doesn't work nothing. You understand?
But if
you put it all together.
And if you want this to become your job,
career,
then you got to do this.
You got to do that.
You got to do this. You can't just be the average guy.
100%.
You got to do stuff like this autistic stuff you're talking about.
Absolutely. No, man, I take my hat out, and that's why I support you guys so much, because I see things that I know that this is the missing link, you know what I mean? So I'll be with you guys wherever we go, man. Let's go back to Japan, drive.
Forget where the
get the wrong hotel. Let's go to Brazil. Drive a little bit hat-trickly. You know what I mean?
All right, guys. That's it for episode 6. Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you,
really
Tony.
Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, bro.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
No worries. Whoosh.